Okay, so this is part three. Um, let's talk about the antiquated ceremony itself. Um, again, a lot of the traditions and all of that kind of crap comes from some really shitty stuff. You know, the ring was symbolizing the fact that you as the woman, that symbolizes the dowry and the fact that that guy owns you now. The veil was so that he couldn't see you during the ceremony because the little oh cute like oh well it's bad luck for the groom to see the bride before the wedding. Um, that was meant a little bit more literal back in the day. Um, not seeing the bride before the wedding means he never saw you before you get married. He doesn't see you until the ceremony's over and he lifts that veil. Never before. And like that's really fucked up. And a lot of like these little, you know, things that society has sort of put onto this thing comes from really weird traditions and really old fashioned crap and a lot of like stuff that is again, it's antiquated and it's unrealistic and it goes to either really kind of sick a sick past or this idealized version of love and romance that again I do think that both are unrealistic. um Personal things about me that again I touched on the whole human nature, we're not monogamous. One of the things that I was speaking of things that I won't compromise, I am open to the idea of polyamory. Now, this doesn't mean that I go out seeking random people to fuck. What it means is I'm open to the idea that if I meet somebody randomly, I might be attracted to them and I might, want to have a intellectual and romantic relationship with them. And if I'm in a relationship with somebody and I meet somebody else, I don't want to close myself off to whatever I might have with that other person. But whenever I enter into a relationship, that's one of the, or whenever I meet somebody that I'm interested in, I always put that out on the table first. I'm like, listen, this is how I feel about this. And honestly, it makes it difficult to date because a lot of people aren't comfortable with that. Both men and women. Both sides, they're not comfortable with it. But it's something that I won't compromise. And because I know that it's something that's important to me, that I don't want to shut other people out, and if the other person isn't comfortable with it, I'm not really the person for them. Because there's some people who are like, oh, well, I don't know how I feel about that, but I like you. And I'm like, no, if you're not comfortable with it, I'm not the person for you. If you're not comfortable with how I feel about relationships, if you're not comfortable with my sexuality, if you're not comfortable with anything about me, you shouldn't be compromising those things. Especially, and that's what I do. I lay all of my baggage out, first couple of dates, which I've gotten flack from other friends being like, you can't be telling them, that you're an atheist and that you're bisexual and all that stuff. You can't tell people that on like the first or second date. And I'm like, why not? Is it better that they're under false pretenses or that I show myself in some like idealized in their eyes light that isn't true? No, I'm gonna lay everything out, and if they don't like it, then it's better to find out before there is any like serious emotions in there. But a lot of people don't see things that way. A lot of people hide their true selves until it's too late, and I think that this is straying away from the marriage idea a little bit, but it's all rolled up in the same bag to me, honestly. Um, like I said, people people change, and I don't think that people should be punished for changing. And I think two people being in a relationship when either one of them is unhappy, one of them or both is unhappy, is unfair to both. I think if the person that you're with has changed in a way that you don't want to be with them anymore, you shouldn't stay with them just because, like, oh, well, you know, I said vows. Um, and especially, like, I cannot stress enough that, and I really haven't touched on it yet, the fact of, like, if kids are involved, because a lot of couples, like, they'll stay together for the sake of the children and everything like that. But, you know, if you're fighting, or if there's just a general feeling of, like, distance or anything like that, I don't think that's good for two kids to be in the middle of. I don't think that's any of it is good for children to be around. Um, and I really want to tell you guys that I'm not coming from, like, some child of divorce kind of situation. My parents actually yesterday celebrated their 35th wedding anniversary, and they are so the testament of, like, how to survive a marriage, and, like, how two people can stay together and can be happy and all of that. And still can be incredibly romantic with each other. But again, for me personally, and for a lot of us out there personally, and that's why I'm so glad that Pete did her video, and why I've been able to sort of express this, because we're seen as bitter or angry or against love, and all of that kind of stuff, because of the fact that we're women and we should be all about marriage, and we're not. And we see problems in it, and we see issues with it, and I it makes me feel better that I'm not the only one, that I'm not the only woman out there who just sees this as not the best situation for anybody. You know, for me, for whoever I'm with, I just, that's not something that I want. And like I said, get a lot of, like, eyes on, oh, well, you're young, you'll change, you'll find the right person, and blah 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 blah. I really don't think so. I think there's too many uh, fundamental issues with it, issues that I take with it, and I don't think it's something I'd ever want. So, okay, Rebellious Rebecca, give me your feedback on this. Hope I covered everything, and didn't ramble too much, and didn't repeat myself too much and all that stuff, and covered everything. Um, so there you go. All right. Have a good day, guys.